Part 127. After my death, the villain blackened again. Author, Ben Gong Wei Pang. Chapter 1274. After that, Cheng Zihao turned his head and looked at Li Li. You asked me why I didn't like you. I have never said it before, mainly because I have a good relationship with your brother, so I want to give you some face. But you shouldn't need this face now. He took out a tissue from his pocket and handed it to Li Li with tears in his face. He had a gentle movement and a gentle voice, but what he said was not the same. You are not the girl I like from head to toe, especially it is your character that makes me feel disgusted when I think about it. Every time I meet you, I endure and end up shouting. Cheng Zihao's impression of Li Li has always been gentle as a gentleman, and she has never seen him swear. But now, he said so to her, looking at her with all disgust. Li Li was trembling at this moment, and she wanted to reach out to indicate the song. She wanted to ask why. What's worse than the woman who can only behave like a pitiful woman in exchange for sympathy? But she was so sad that she couldn't speak at all. Li Feng didn't give Li Li a chance to speak either. He took a step back and closed the door. Yanj, why is she your sister anyway? Don't you comfort me? Li Feng, the tears crying are all water in my head. Cry a few more times, maybe her head is normal. Words of song. She stared at Li Feng, who was talking seriously. When Li Feng thought she was about to say something, she turned and walked towards her study. Li Feng reached out and clasped her wrist. You have nothing to tell me. Somehow, what can she tell him? Yan Ji obliquely slapped him. Before he could talk, Li Feng rushed to her and ran her against the wall. Almost all of his body pressed against her. Strong masculinity raps the words at this moment. Yan Ji's head banged, her head seemed to be bursting with fireworks, filled with white ons, and she had no thought at this moment. When she remembered the rebellion, Li Feng dropped her head and her lips had fallen on her lips. Words. He murmured softly, as if holding her in his mouth, tossing again and again. Yan Ji's eyes were foolish, and the next moment she recovered her clarity. She raised her hand to Li Feng's face. Li Feng grabbed her wrist first. Although Yanj was calm on the face, his eyes were burning as if looking at him. We have terminated the engagement, brother Li, I hope you respect me. Li Feng didn't speak. He raised it with his other hand, and bang put the hair on one side of his cheek behind his ear. Then she took advantage of it and touched her head. Yanyan, when he saw Yanj want to rebel, he quickly squeezed Yanj and rested his head on the soft hair of Yanj. But I cannot leave you. His whispered voice seemed to sigh. Later, the lips fell on the forehead of the words, you have died once, and I have died once. Words, we have all put down the former things, and have we come back? Not good. Yan Ji's voice was hard and expressionless. In fact, she is about to explode now. She felt that her body should reach the age when she wanted to slap with a man. And Li Feng's strong male hormone was like a walking pill, which made her brain swell, and her thoughts were slow. After being touched by this guy, she didn't raise her disgust. After my death, the villain blackened again. Author, Ben Gong Wei Pang. Chapter 1275. Instead, I was looking forward to Li Feng's hand sliding down on her. Naturally, look forward to failure. Yanj had no idea whether it was disappointment or panic about his reaction. She pushed Li Feng sharply away and stepped back to stand in front of her bedroom door. After keeping the absolute distance between the two people, she put her emotions in her arms. Raising her chin, she said to Li Feng, it was too late to come back yesterday. I need to make up for it, please leave. Li Feng, I'll sleep with you. Yanj felt that his brow was flicking. She desperately wanted to swallow the man. There is a fierce beast in the body, and it can erupt at any time and anywhere. But it seems that the food in front of me seems to be ignorant, but she is still close to her. Words, I promise, I will only sleep with you. But she can't guarantee it. Yanj took a step back and took another step back, frowning unpleasantly. Li Feng, you have time to go now. Li Feng looked at the fierce Song, his lips were raised, and he laughed, speaking, I haven't thought about leaving, and I have been resting for a while. The doctor said that I should try to get enough sleep. If you want to sleep together we will. Yan Ji was unable to talk to him. He turned around and strode toward the bedroom, and the bedroom door was rattled by her. But the next moment, she suddenly opened the door again, jumped up, and caught Li Feng's neck that had come to the door. Then he bit a fierce bite on his chest. It was you who told me to sleep with me. Li Feng embraced her waist, her voice soft as if drowning water. Yanj didn't give him a chance to talk nonsense, stomped his toes and bit his lip. Yan Ji didn't know, her body suddenly wanted so much from. Of course, she is a tree herself. Although she knows humans well, she knows that humans are extremely complicated creatures. It is possible that her body, like an animal, has reached the stage of estrus. Many wounds on Li Feng's body have not been cured yet. Fortunately, one of his younger brothers was not injured. Critical moments can still come in handy. Not to be powerful and useless. Li Feng was injured, so it was Yanj who led the action. She felt that the body had maintained its place for more than 2 decades, probably to burst out at this moment. The only regret is that the man underneath is too long. Always so fast. It made her uncomfortable. Really want to find a few more men, but, forget it, it doesn't seem to be so unbearable. After Yanj, he simply treated the man as a giant pillow and fell asleep. Li Feng didn't open his eyes until he felt sound sleep, and turned his head slightly. His eyes fell on Yan Ji's face. The corners of his lips rose slightly, a little bit evil, and a little bit, as if the bad boy who succeeded in pranking was smug. Yanj didn't sleep long. After all, during the day, and she is still young, she doesn't have to sleep. When she woke up, the man beside him was asleep. She tilted her head and stared at the man's features. At such a close distance, the more you look, the more you realize that Li Feng looks very good. His eyes are straight, his lips are sharp and stylish, his nose is straight, and he will be attracted when he looks at it. This man is really very attractive. After speaking the song, I realized that Li Feng had said that to Cheng Zihao earlier, and it seemed to make sense. With such a charming man dangling in front of her eyes, how could she see Cheng Zihao's sissy like that? You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After my death, the villain blackened again. Author, Ben Gong Weipang. Chapter 1276. I have to say that Li Li's vision is a bit poor. Yan Ji sighed inwardly. Some gleeful thoughts. It is estimated that the wicked man who taught Li Li was Cheng Zihao. Come whenever you think. The ringing of a cell phone in the living room rang. Yan Ji got up and went to the living room. He picked up his mobile phone and took a look. It was Cheng Zihao's phone. There was an emergency, and everyone couldn't handle it, so we needed to talk. Yan Ji hung up the phone and immediately took a shower in the bathroom and changed his clothes. She took a shower in the bathroom in the guest room and did not disturb Li Feng. The guy was not tormented by her, and hoped that he could get a good night's sleep and recover some energy. Because of this, Yanj went lightly when going out. She also had to be light-footed, and her small body had poor recovery ability. For the first time, she was doing such things, and it was too intense. She realized afterwards that there was glass scum in her body, and when she took a step, she felt cold sweat. Fortunately, she was pain-resistant, and she didn't feel so unbearable. As soon as Yanj left, Li Feng woke up, his eyes glared at the ceiling, and he remained motionless for a moment. The emergency is not in the department, but in a bank. When Yanj was driving, Cheng Zihao also told her the situation in the bank. Someone robbed the bank, not a knife or gun. Using black technology. This guy is awesome. The department is not incapable of solving it, but it takes time. But every second, the money in the bank is rushing down. Cheng Zihao said all the code and what programs the thief used to guess. Yanj used her heart and heart while listening to Cheng Zihao talking while driving. She reached the bank at the fastest speed. Because Cheng Zihao had already told Yanj all the information he had obtained, Yanj sat next to the computer and resolved the matter the first time. Not only that, she used anti-tracking methods, and even dug out the other computer's hidden IP address. Things that everyone needs time to solve. On the Singer, a minute is useless. It was a gratifying thing. However, I did not expect that the thief on the other side of the network was in the bank office and was still a bank insider. To set up such a program, this guy spent more than 3 years. I thought it was foolproof, but I didn't expect to be conquered by Yanj for a minute. The address was exposed, and it didn't take long for his affairs to fail. Sooner or later they will be arrested by the police. Angered, he took the fruit knife on the table, walked in front of Yanj and seemed to shake hands with Yanj to thank him, but the next moment, the knife stabbed at Yanj's belly. Everyone who could see it was scared and shouted caution, especially Cheng Zihao, rushed towards the person quickly, trying to push him away. But to his surprise, the delicate and weak words, his hands pinched on the man's wrist holding the knife and looked down. With a pain in his wrist, the man unconsciously released his knife. Yanj quickly drew his fruit knife and lifted his feet under this guy's waist. The man screamed aloud and fell to the office. Although he screamed, he still took the vase on the table and wanted to fight back. I want to kill you, you destroy me, you destroy me. But he hadn't turned around yet, and the Singer's fruit knife snapped and nailed it to his palm. The fruit knife nailed his hand directly to the desk. After my death, the villain blackened again. Author, Ben Gong Wei Pang. Chapter 1277. Men's screams are louder. Everyone. Cheng Zihao. Everyone was timid. Although the man screamed so loudly, everyone didn't dare to approach, for fear that this person would tear again. Cheng Zihao was bolder, he approached and glanced. The fruit knife passed through the palm of the man and nailed it to the table. Obviously quite deep, the man tried a few times, not only failed to pull the fruit knife off the table, but cried loudly instead. The police came quickly and caught the man. The police would not have pity on his hands like a man, grabbed the handle of the knife and pulled it hard, pulling the knife off the table in the man's scream. Of course, the knife still passed through the man's hand. In the respectful eyes of the bank's employees, Yan Ji and Cheng Zihao left. Until sitting in the co-pilot position of Yanj, Cheng Zihao could not react. Afterwards, he said to Yanj, "You were just a moment ago. It's amazing." Yan Song, "It's not difficult." I know Cheng Zihao quite understood, "You are also a blind cat who has run into a dead mouse. But this kind of thing is too dangerous. She is a girl and she can't be stubborn next time. Yanj, as long as you don't poke his hand bones, nailing to the table is very easy. After all, the table is wood, not iron." Cheng Zihao. "Haha, are you joking?" Yan Ji turned his head and glanced at him, "You try." Cheng Zihao. His hand seemed to be reflective. I wanted to wave my hand, but I was really afraid of where Yanj would pick up a knife and give him an experiment. He shook his head quickly, "No, I believe you." Yanj's well-established summary, "Most of the love at first sight is long planned. I practice darts for an hour every morning. I would think that I would be a sniper. I am very diligent. But I just nailed my hands to the table. This little thing doesn't bother me." Cheng Zihao. Is this guy talking about it? Aren't you bragging? If it is true, at her level, it seems a pity to be an improper sniper. He knew about Yanj's leg injury. But I only know it was a car accident, I do auntie know how it hurt? After hearing the words, I didn't know how to comfort her for a while, I just laughed twice and said, "You're amazing." Of course, this song admits, well. Cheng Zihao touched his nose awkwardly. This woman is not humble at all. He apparently just echoed her. However, it seems that she also has proud capital. Cheng Zihao looked at the red street lamp in front of him and said, "Well, in fact, I really wanted to chase you before, but the department does not advocate office romance, and I am the boss, so I can only stand it. Yanj, men in the department, who are not married or girlfriends, are more than half chasing me. If you confess, you have to line up to get the number." Cheng Zihao. Anyway, he's her boss, should you be so upright? He will give her little shoes. Be assured that I had this kind of thought before, but today I won't have it. No, it should start now, I won't have it. Cheng Zihao's words were quite arrogant. It's as if he's dumping his words. Don't forget to turn around to see Yanj's response after speaking. Yan Song, thank you for raising your hand. Cheng Zihao. After my death, the villain blackened again. Author, Ben Gong Wei Pang. Chapter 1278. Cheng Zihao proudly hummed and decided not to talk about reason. This woman who can not only pinch her legs but also insert a knife, he really can't like it. After all, from childhood to age, he hated violence the most and loved to solve problems mildly. He hates all forms of violence, and when he thinks of falling in love with a woman who knows how to kick his legs, he is subconscious. Now that he can finally not chase her, he is still very happy, and especially wants to set off firecrackers to celebrate. He felt it necessary to invite colleagues for a big meal at night to celebrate that his atrium was finally empty again. He can have more energy to play games. Thinking about this, he immediately took out his mobile phone and sang in the department group, "Do you have time at night? Your boss, I treat you, hi together. Hand, boss, have you been dumped by a woman? Staff 2, boss, you treat, who pays? Staff 3, how can the boss be dumped by a woman, a wise man like the boss, he does not need a woman at all. Staff 4, boss, can you drag your family around? I want to bring a female ticket asterisk slash 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 asterisk, Q shy. Staff 5, boss, are you looking at Comrade Chen in our department and you dare not go to meet her alone, so use us as a shield. Man. 2 men. Men 3. Staff 4, is it true, boss, do you like Comrade Xiao Chen? You are hiding so deep that everyone didn't realize it. Cheng Zihao, he really wanted to send the picture of Xiao Chen's notification to Yunyan's legs and throwing a flying knife in the group to see these single dogs who want to sing. However, he was not so kind, Cheng Zihao, this year's salary increase assessment seems to be this month. Hand, boss, I love you, how can you spend your money, please everyone, we all invite you to dinner? Man 2, yes, boss, we ask you, we love you deeply. Cheng Zihao, Yanj sent Cheng Zihao to the unit. When he saw Yanj, he did not get out of the car. Cheng Zihao asked, do you have time at night? Let's go out for dinner together. Okay, Yanj said, just book a time and place to send me a message. Cheng Zihao found that the woman's expression was open-minded and there was no sorrow or regret that she was thrown away. He felt uncomfortable. This woman is too big and careless. He was about to close the door and yelled at him, wait. Cheng Zihao was slightly happy, but his face was silent, and he bent over and asked, what? Yanj, whoever pays, if it's shared, I won't go. You also know that my salary is not high. Now that the prices of food and vegetables are soaring, it is not going to increase. Amazing. Cheng Zihao. Cheng Zihao was black-faced. I pay, I invite. When the words fell, he turned away, and even if he yelled at him, he would never look back. Yanj has no idea how this guy's tone suddenly changed. She was too lazy to think. Before driving home, Yan Ji, by the way, bought some dishes for lunch. She was still uncomfortable, and she went to the pharmacy to buy medicine. It's too intense. She reflected, even she was like this, Li Feng's injury did not know if it had cracked. This guy seemed as if he hadn't hummed from beginning to end. She was working hard and didn't pay attention to his injuries. Ugh. Holding the dish, Yanj just came to the door, and the door opened from the inside. Li Feng wore his own blue pajamas and blue slippers, reached out, and took over the dishes from the singer. There are still dishes in the refrigerator at home, this kind of thing will be left to me next time. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After my death, the villain blackened again. Author, Ben Gong Wei Pang. Chapter 1279. This tone of speech seemed to be the same as her old wife and wife. Yanj suddenly regretted the incident with him. Because it was fermenting too fast, she couldn't bear it. Li Feng's gaze was withdrawn from Yan Ji's face without a trace. Is the matter resolved? Yan Ji nodded and said quite contentedly, I'll get off the ground in 3 minutes. She didn't realize at all that her expression at this moment was like a male peacock showing off a screen in front of a female peacock. Li Feng put the dishes in the kitchen and came out again to find the medicine box from the drawer. This beckoned Yan Ji, come here. Words of song. It seems that this guy's wound is cracked. Yan Ji suddenly had a bit of a snack, and hurried over. Li Feng, however, took her wrist, and took the medicine from the medicine box to disinfect her palm with skillful movements, and covered it with medicinal gauze. Words of song. Then she remembered that when she grabbed the fruit knife in the man's hand, her palm was accidentally scratched a little. There was still a little pain while holding the steering wheel. But the wound was small, so she ignored it completely. I did not expect Li Feng to see it. This man, real Nima, is attentive. Thank you. Yan Zhishang also exchanged, well, what about your injury? What about the injury in the morning? I also forgot to notice whether your injury has cracked. Li Feng heard the words and squinted. The contents of this eye are strange, and the words are not understood. She was thinking about continuing to talk. Li Feng said, I didn't see it myself. Will you check it for me? The low-pitched voice has a slightly tuned tail. Although it is an inquiry, the song is somewhat ambiguous. She felt like she wanted to be crooked. I don't know why, if you get close to him, you will be attracted by the masculinity of him. If you feel drunk, you want to hug him. Or, it's good to lie in his arms. In fact, the last thing I want to do is pop. However, it is estimated that he is no longer good. After all, in this plane, men's energy is very poor. Yanj squared his mind and said, I will help you after dinner. At the end, he asked him again, what do you want to eat? I will cook today. It's early. Li Feng turned on the TV, jumped to Yan Ji's favorite idol stage, and signaled that Song was lying on the sofa. Does it still hurt? The question was inexplicable, but it was somewhere between the pants of his utterance. Song, which immediately understood. She said quickly, it's okay. Li Feng, I saw the medicine you bought. Shaking the medicine in his hand is indeed the tube that Yanj just bought. Probably he took the medicine bag with him when he took the vegetable bag. Yanj shame. She busy said, it doesn't hurt anymore. Li Feng, wipe it better. Yan Song, will I come by myself? Li Feng looked at Yanj with curiosity, you can come by yourself. Words of song. Yanj thinks that when you listen, you can make people think crooked. I really want to silently withdraw what I just said. Li Feng held the ointment. Do you want to come by yourself? He had a strong curiosity in his eyes, as if he would observe it on the spot. Yanj finally lost. Come on. Li Feng frowned. Yes. His fingers were gentle, and the ointment was cool and cold. Yan Ji squinted his eyes and suddenly realized that taking medicine was also a treat. After taking the medicine, Li Feng didn't stop too much. He put a thin blanket on the side of Yan Ji and asked softly, "What do you want to eat at noon?" After my death, the villain blackened again. Author, Ben Gong Wei Pang. Chapter 1280. Yan Ji squinted his eyes and hummed, "Anywhere." She was softened by Li Feng. Don't want to eat, just want to eat him. But I also know that this man has been squeezed out by her and cannot eat if he wants to eat. However, she bought donkey meat today, so she changed her mouth and said, "Will you make a donkey pot?" Li Feng, okay. Not whether it will be, but good. He wouldn't, and she could do it because of her request. In this way, I mainly want her to praise. However, Yanj is eating and drinking, and there is really nothing to ask for. Not to mention that Li Feng's preparation is very delicious. Even if Li Feng's production is a pile of raw meat, Yanj will not have an opinion. Naturally, there is no way to praise. After Li Feng entered the kitchen, he first asked on the mobile microchat on Cheng Zihao what the urgent task of Yanj was today. Cheng Zihao was particularly tangled when he saw Li Feng's questioning. He and Li Feng have been good friends since childhood. Because of this, he often heard Li Feng talk about his fragile, gentle fiancé like a little rabbit. Regarding Li Feng and Yanj's dissolution of the marriage, Cheng Zihao also knew that this guy also went out for a drink with him because of this incident. Probably because I was a good buddy from childhood. Cheng Zihao also likes that kind of girl who is soft and fragile like a bunny. He knew his brother was still thinking about it, but he just wanted to pry at the corner. After all, a good girl can't be met, and Yan Ji and he both work together, and there are topics to talk about when two people sleep in a quilt at night. How beautiful. But beauty is broken today. Cheng Zihao saw Li Feng's questioning. At this moment, hesitated to tell his brother that the song was not a little white rabbit but a Tyrannosaurus Rex. After all, he can see that the good guys are still thinking of the fiancé of the little white rabbit. However, what if Li Feng abandoned the song like him after telling him? Yan's song has been abandoned once by him, can he bear it again? So after a short struggle, Cheng Zihao felt that for such things, good buddies who don't go to hell. Don't tell decisively. After all, Yanj is his favorite colleague, and he can't make his colleague an old woman who can't marry. I would rather tear down a temple than ruin 10 marriages. So Cheng Zihao unbelievably a little beautified today's events and told Li Feng. But the person who knew him best was Li Feng. He squinted at Cheng Zihao's words, and immediately guessed the truth, so put down the phone and concentrate on cooking. Donkey pot is not too difficult. Li Feng glanced at the steps on the phone and realized that he had mastered them all. After a while, lunch was just fine. Li Feng put the food on the coffee table so that he would not have to walk to the dining table. Yanj took chopsticks and asked him, "Aren't you going home? Your parents know you're here with me." Li Feng, "No, I've been healing you here." Words of song. In the 2 months she had gone, she seemed to have been occupied by a dove. Song, "Don't say that you have been sleeping in my bed." Yes, Li Feng said that Yanj's face was not good, and he said immediately, "I can't feel pain during this time. It won't hurt to sleep on your bed." Oh, deceit. Yan Ji glanced at him, never minding it again. After all, she was already asleep, and it was useless to care about so much. After taking a few bites, she saw that Li Feng was sitting there, but she didn't mean to eat. She was curious and asked, "Why not eat?" After my death, the villain blackened again. Author, Ben Gong Wei Pang. Chapter 1281. Li Feng, you eat very fragrant. It looks satisfying when you look at it. Is it delicious? The last sentence was what he wanted to ask. He waited for her to compliment. Yan Song, it's delicious. Li Feng got this, finally satisfied, bowed his head and began to eat. After eating for a while, he looked up and asked her, is it a little bit light? Would you like some chili oil? Yan Song did not look up, no need, just right. Have a meal where it takes so much trouble. Li Feng narrowed his eyes and sang the song to eat, and his lips rose. It seems to be very satisfied with his cooking. After the two had finished eating, Li Feng went to the kitchen and washed the pots and bowls, and then sat on the sofa with Yanj. Yanji likes watching idol dramas. When she was watching an idol drama, Li Feng was watching her. His eyes were burning, and he could not ignore them. Yanji had to ask him, how are you recovering? Li Feng, okay. Yangu remembered it after thinking about it, and wanted to help him check whether the injuries had cracked. She immediately hooked at him, come here, I'll check. Li Feng is very close to Yanj, but after listening to Yanj, he moved around Yanj. He bowed his head slightly, his long eyelashes dropped, and he was obviously a heroic man, but Yanji felt at this moment that the man seemed to be shy. Are you shy? She was a little funny, but the heart on her chest jumped up. I felt that Li Feng like this seemed to seduce her. Like a delicious food, she wanted to drool when she looked at it. She covered up the greedy expression under her eyes improperly, then reached out and took off Li Feng's pajamas t-shirt. The male scent was blowing. It's like food with the smell of meat. Yanji tossed the t-shirt to one side, stood up again, and pulled away from each other. Then he moved behind Li Feng and looked at his back. 2 months later, Li Feng's minor injuries were basically healed, but there were still a few surgeries to clean up the iron fragments in the meat. These injuries were not great. Fortunately, the back wounds are relatively small, and probably he himself also noticed that the wounds did not crack. Yanj went around Li Feng again. His chest was also scarred. Fortunately, the injuries seemed to be getting better. Yanji moved curiously from Li Feng's neck to his face, wondering, you said that you have so many injuries on your body, with big injuries and small injuries. How did your face and your third leg not hurt? Do you mean to protect it? Li Feng. He also had injuries on his face. He was afraid of her disgust, and he handled all the injuries himself. As for the third leg, he was very lucky. Fortunately, it's okay, otherwise what use is this body? At this moment, when he heard the words of the song, Li Feng raised his head slightly and motioned to look at his face and head. There is still a closer look. Yan Song looked at it carefully, but the scar was not seen. The more I looked, the more I felt that Li Feng's face looked really good. The eyebrows are thick and dark, and they are also very stylish. The nose is tall and the lips are moist and fleshy. If you look at it, you want to bite. Probably because Li Feng had just eaten the meat, Yanji even felt that the breath exhaled from his nose was fragrant and meaty. So looking at it, Yanji bowed his head and pecked on Li Feng's lips. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After my death, the villain blackened again. Author, Ben Gong Wei Pang. Chapter 1282. Li Feng frowned doubtfully, are there any injuries on your mouth? Yanj, it seems to have been bitten by me. It hurts. Li Feng, it doesn't hurt. Yanj pecked again, itchy, dumb voice, reluctant to say, Li Feng, when will you return to the team again? Li Feng, I retired. Word song? She was smashed by these words, and the thoughts in her head were gone. She just looked up, looking at Li Feng in confusion. Retire. In her memories, Li Feng didn't retire halfway. Li Feng nodded, I'm going to retire, the unit assigned me a house, and nothing else. He paused, looking at the words and saying, I may need you to support me in the future. I have so many injuries now, and I will be unavoidable in the future. If you are willing to support me, I write the house in your name. Who is Li Feng? When he was facing outsiders, he was fierce and indifferent, and he was braved with a kind of wicked stuff, which was both respectful and fearful, and he was afraid to approach him at all. But now, with his long legs curled up, he sat on the sofa, staring at the words, pitifully. Yanj felt that she instantly became an old hen who only wanted to protect her chicks. She reached out and rubbed Li Feng's hair, it's all right, I support you, and the house doesn't need to be renamed. I have money. Li Feng, who was killed by the touch. Fortunately, his hair is now shaved, but there is no need to worry about the hair becoming a bird's nest. Yan Ji's cell phone rang at this time. She picked up the cell phone and took a look. It was from Lu Zihao. Look at the message I sent you. The time and place have been booked, and you remember to come at night. Yanj, oh, I didn't watch my phone just after eating. Okay, I know. She hung up the phone and looked at Li Feng's inquiries. Then she said, our boss today doesn't know if it's evil. Usually, iron are as unkind as they are today. They said they would invite people in our department to eat K-songs. Li Feng, Cheng Zihao. Yanj, yes, you will go with me at that time. Let's have a good meal and we won't need you to cook at night. Li Feng realized the last sentence of Yanj, is the food outside better than I made? What's so delicious about the food is just enough to fill your stomach, but Yanj felt that when Li Feng asked this, he seemed nervous, probably trying to get her approval. She immediately said, the food outside is definitely not as delicious as yours, but I feel bad that you are cooking with injuries. Li Feng laughed. His features looked very severe and serious, but he smiled, like a silly big man, stupid and even a bit adorable, that is my honor. Yanj walked over and squeezed his cheeks, I really can talk. Why didn't I think you could talk like this before? The previous Li Feng seemed to be a stuffy gourd. Li Feng did not hide or wait, waiting for Yan Ji to pinch his cheeks on both sides, and then stretched out his hands, rubbing his painful cheeks. Yanj looked at him and laughed. She didn't even know what was wrong with her. The idols on TV didn't feel Li Feng attracted her. Li Feng was looked at by Yanj like this, his ear tips were glowing red, he looked unnaturally, and then found the TV remote control and handed it to Yanj. Yanj took the remote control and slid his head on his lap. What do you want to see? Right now she doesn't even care about watching TV. After my death, the villain blackened again. Author, Ben Gong Wei Peng. Chapter 1283. Li Feng lowered his eyes slightly, his eyes fell on Yan Ji's face, his throat rolled, and he said softly, everything is okay. In the afternoon, it was so spent. Because it was a dinner party, Yanj wore a tender yellow knee-length skirt. When she was dressed up, she found that Li Feng was wearing a light yellow casual clothes. It looks like a couple outfit with her. Yan Ji looked left and right, all felt that he always wore a dark-colored Li Feng. Suddenly wearing such a suit, he had the illusion of a small flesh. She narrowed her eyes unsatisfactorily, and reached out to grab Li Feng's arm, let's go, can you drive now? No, Li Feng said, the injury on the arm has sequelae, and sometimes it feels sore and unconscious. I can barely drive alone, and I dare not take you. Yanj laughed, it's all right, the driving skills are good, I'll take you. Li Feng, tough work for you. Words, I support you, it should be. After getting in the car, Yanj asked Li Feng, will your arm recover? Li Feng heard the words, his expression was a bit dull, he narrowed his eyes and sang, I don't know, it should be fine. After a pause, he said, Will you dislike me? Words, no. He had a problem with his arm, and he just couldn't stay on it. She was very happy about the fact that she could keep her posture all the time. Li Feng, I don't want to abandon me because I cook deliciously. Yanj, you don't have to think so. She actually wanted to say that he was better than rice. At the agreed KTV, Yanj found the box number, and when I went in, I found that everyone was almost there. It is a large box, not only can you sing, but also a pool table. There is an extremely rich dinner on the table. There is only one song in the house. As soon as Cheng Zihao raised his eyes, he did not expect to see Li Feng, and took a few steps to pat Li Feng's shoulder. You. But before his hand landed on Li Feng's shoulder, Yanj held him by the wrist. Brother Li has a wound on his shoulder and cannot be touched. No one can contaminate her food, huh? Cheng Zihao immediately rushed to the strength of the singer. This weak chicken-like woman even hurt the bones of his wrists. Well, this hand made him even more certain that the woman's knife insertion today is really not a blind cat's encounter with a dead mouse, but a real skill. It was even more trembling. Fortunately he got out early. Cheng Zihao's gaze swept between Yanj and Li Feng, and found that the unusual dog food between the two people was not only not lost, but was especially happy in his heart. Li Feng received the tigress, which saved the people in his department from being harmed by the tigress. He didn't want to be the director of the Women's Federation in the future. Quickly let go, Cheng Zihao howled, wrist is broken. Yanj let go of his hand, I'm helpless, don't shout, no one will hurt you anymore. Li Feng, what's it called? It seems you are too weak. Cheng Zihao. He quietly stepped back and kept a distance from the two guys. Don't eat and hurry up to eat something. These guys didn't eat at noon one by one, just waiting for the night. Like a wolf, you can only eat a plate. As soon as the song was heard, Li Feng immediately took his hand to the dining table. Come and come, everyone knows, my husband Li Feng, said in advance, my husband has injuries on his body and can't drink, don't toast, yeah, just shout brother Feng one by one.